Hello, guys. It's me again, and today I'm bringing you the latest with a lot of speculations for you to do. The glossy veneer of Hollywood is cracking. Behind the forced smiles on the red carpet and the carefully curated social media posts, a series of seismic shifts are tearing through the foundations of some of the industry's most seemingly unshakable institutions. This isn't just gossip anymore. This is a full-scale collapse of narratives we were all sold. The perfect power couple, the infallible musical genius, the dignified separation, all of them are proving to be fragile facades.
Hi, little guy. What's up? What's going on? I know. It's like I get halfway down there and be like, I'm a monster. I know. I'm so sorry. What's your question for me, buddy?
Hi, Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Let's skip to the question.
Why is there so much Chipotle mayo on your Tim breakfast?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I wish I had some control over that. But you know what I can do? I can send a strongly worded letter to the chef over at Tim Hortons. Consider it done, young man. What's your name? Liam? Okay, Liam. I'll make it downright vicious. But I'm gonna just say it's from you though.
And tonight we're pulling back the curtain to reveal how deep the deception truly goes. Let's start with the story that feels like a betrayal to millions of fans. The story of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. For years, they were the blueprint. The couple that balanced blockbuster careers with what appeared to be a genuine, down-to-earth family life. They were funny, they were beautiful, they were goals. But the cracks have been forming for a long time, and a recent shocking blind item has brought everything to a head. The item was blunt. The A-list actress was barred from her husband's latest premiere. Let's just call it what it is. Just end the marriage already. Now, I don't say that with any joy. I don't want any family to fall apart. And the thought of their 4 beautiful children being caught in the middle of this is truly heartbreaking. But you have to look at the evidence. You have to connect the dots. They've had a good run, but between the relentless work schedules, the pressure of raising a young family entirely in the public eye, and the simmering scandals they've tried to keep locked away, the strain is undeniable.
Lively and Ryan Reynolds have allegedly not been living together for almost a year. The Justin Baldoni lawsuit has definitely come in between the two, and their marriage is in trouble. But they don't want to announce their split yet because their public image is already so bad. And the blind item reads, the Canadian actor and his wife haven't shared a roof for almost a year. They barely talk now and won't announce the split yet because it will only make their already shaky public image look worse. And again, this is allegedly Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And the related headline reads, Blake Lively feels humiliated by how Ryan Reynolds has been treating her lately, says source. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' relationship is definitely going through a rough time. Their marriage has become quote-unquote toxic, and they fight most of the time. According to sources, the couple is at each other's throats and fighting around the clock. It's constant, they fight all the time, a source close to the couple revealed to Shutter Scoop. They further revealed the F-bombs aren't playful anymore like before. They have turned nasty and it's wearing them both down.
You can see the exhaustion in their eyes. Ryan Reynolds has built an entire brand on being the king of self-deprecating humor. But that persona is paper thin. Remember the incident on the red carpet where he was caught on camera openly scolding a child? That wasn't just a bad moment. It was a glimpse of the real frustration bubbling beneath the surface. It makes you wonder if he finally decided that having Blake Lively by his side, once his greatest asset, was now a liability. That their combined star power was creating a gravity well of pressure that was too much to bear. So he barred her. He went to his own premiere alone. That isn't a simple oversight or a scheduling conflict. That is a statement. It's a cold, calculated public declaration that the brand of Reynolds Lively is being strategically dismantled. But the premiere snub is just the tip of the iceberg. To understand the full picture, you have to look at the other players and the other dramas entangled in their lives. The ongoing lawsuit with Justin Baldoni is a perfect example. The media initially tried to spin this as a rift between Blake and her best friend, Taylor Swift. But then Taylor released her song, Cancelled, which is widely interpreted as a public shout-out and show of support for Blake. So if their friendship is intact, what's the real problem? The problem is that Ryan Reynolds is just as deep in that legal mess as Blake is. He was the one who was publicly seen confronting Justin Baldoni. He was the one making petty, thinly veiled jokes about the situation in his films. He can't pretend he's above the fray. This is his mess too. So when you see him barring Blake from that premiere, it's not just about a marriage. It's about a business partnership fracturing. They are uncoupling in every sense of the word, emotionally, professionally, and financially. The merger is over. And while one couple's empire crumbles, another superstar is facing an empire-threatening crisis of her own. This one isn't about a relationship. It's about her very legacy. Taylor Swift, the musician who has built a career on her songwriting prowess, is now facing a legal and public relations nightmare that challenges the core of her originality. You see, in the music industry, there are lines you do not cross. And one of them is crossing the Jackson family. Lawyers for the notoriously litigious and protective Jackson dynasty are officially circling Taylor Swift. The reason is as clear as day to anyone who listens. The guitar riff on her song Wood.
This divorce is about to get real messy, real fast. Keith is putting out all of the we just drifted apart, and she didn't provide me with the emotional stability that I need as a late 50s man in a man-life crisis with the mental age of a toddler. Apparently, not enough emotional support. It turns out there's this whole clause, right? This clause that for every year he stayed sober, he'd get between $600K and $900K per year of marriage. She needed to make this a contract to keep him sober. So basically, 19 years of her having to work like a dog to keep this man on track, and he's basically just crapped all over it because apparently he's moved on already. She also asked for 306 days a year of children, which is basically residential parent, right? She's the main parent. He signed off on that, no issues. And this happens on stage. Seems that he has a new guitarist. She's been around for the last year, since 2024. She's 25. He took one of his songs, Fighter, that was made for Nicole, and he normally says baby in it for Nicole, and he changed that to Maggie. Yeah.
A track from her latest album that is supposedly a tribute to her romance with Travis Kelce is a direct, unmistakable copy of the iconic opening riff from the Jackson 5's smash hit, I Want You Back. It's not just similar, it's identical in its essence and feel. And the Jacksons are not the only ones preparing for a fight.
Mistake of saying that she was inspired by Taylor Swift's Cruel Summer when she wrote Deja Vu. That resulted in Taylor's team demanding and getting a writing credit for a song they had no part in making, because she didn't even know Olivia Rodrigo before that song came out. Fast forward to Life of a Showgirl, you listen to Ruin the Friendship, which by the way is the title of a Demi Lovato song from 2017, no writing credit. And the opening sounds just like Lenny Kravitz's It Ain't Over Till It's Over. That is way more similar than Olivia Rodrigo's Deja Vu is to Cruel Summer, which again, Cruel Summer is the name of a famous Bananarama song. Taylor Swift gave them no credit. Bananarama might as well have coined the term Cruel Summer, and then Taylor Swift took it over. And I think the only reason that Taylor Swift gave any credit on father figure to George Michael is one, because it went viral on TikTok, and two, because George Michael is dead, and that would be incredibly disrespectful, and the gays would not have.
Our sources confirm that the influential one-named group named after a candy is also mobilizing their legal team, preparing a lawsuit of their own. It's a good thing Taylor has that billion-dollar fortune, because she is going to need it to settle what could be a multi-front war. The court of public opinion is already in session, and the verdict is harsh. The comment sections are flooded with people saying, wow, Taylor got lazy and didn't pay the Jackson 5 and the other songwriters. That's terrible. You always have to compensate who you borrow from. And they are absolutely right. When you hear Wood, your brain immediately connects it to I Want You Back. The average listener would assume it was a legally cleared sample. It wasn't. This wasn't an accident. This is part of a much larger, more troubling pattern. If you take a fine-toothed comb to her latest album,
Am I the only one that
thinks all of these new Taylor Swift songs sound like other songs. Wait, let me show you.
You'll find what critics are calling interpolations and what others are calling theft from a roster of legendary artists. George Michael, the Ronettes, Nirvana, the Pixies. These are all artists who famously fought brutal battles for their own creative freedom and ownership against powerful record labels. There is a profound irony in Taylor Swift, an artist who has positioned herself as a champion of artists' rights, building her new work on the sonic foundations of those who fought the same fight, without giving them proper credit or compensation. This reckoning has been a long time coming. It's a cycle that she herself helped perpetuate in the industry, as we saw with the very public writing credit situation with Olivia Rodrigo just a few years ago. And let's talk about the sheer audacity of her commercial strategy for this album. She has deliberately made it so that fans cannot purchase the song Would individually. To get it, they must buy the entire album. So she is not only profiting from a sound that legally and ethically may not be hers to use, but she is also forcing her most loyal fans to financially participate in this controversy by holding the song hostage.
Probably hasn't had 6 figures worth of plastic surgery, but Taylor Swift has, and we should talk about it. 2 plastic surgeries that I think are indisputable that she's had, a breast augmentation and a rhinoplasty, 2008. Here's Taylor Swift's OG face with her OG nose that her mother gave her. At this time, she's got a little bit more baby fat in her face, but 2 things stand out to me that I want to take note of and point out to you. A thin upper lip, pretty thin lower lip, and then her nose, which she has wide nasal bones. You can see the outline of them right there. And then a fairly decently wide bulbous tip. When she first started, she also was very flat-chested. She chose to get a breast augmentation. And here they are, what she is showing off with a fan in the selfie that you can find anywhere on the internet. Take a look at her old nose again. So you can see that the light catches the eye so that it kind of makes this shape right there. It's a wide bulbous tip. After that last photo I showed you. And it's subtle, but her tip is definitely narrowed. The dorsoscetic lines have narrowed, her tip has narrowed, it's less bulbous, less wide. She also has a touch of lip filler here, around 2015, 2016. And she knew to use her COVID time wisely. She came back with new breasts and a stunning, more refined note. Much larger, and you can see they almost meet in the middle. They sit high on her chest. They're significantly larger size than before. Liposuctioned a little bit of fat and grafted it to the upper fold of her breast to smooth that area out. I think she's had a little bit of cheek filler and a little bit more lip filler. But now that we're in the WAG era, I don't know if she's decided to do fat grafting to her cheeks or it's just filler. When you do fat grafting to the cheeks to fill them, about half of it goes away. So it's common to overfill, expecting this moment will fade with time. So it's possible that she did that, and now she's waiting. I think the amount of projection is even more obvious when she's smiling and laughing kind of from the side profile. You can tell that
it's a cynical, calculated cash grab that adds another layer of insult to the injury felt by the original artists. Entertainment lawyers for Berry Gordy and the original corporations are already dissecting every note. And this is shaping up to be the biggest copyright battle of the decade. This lawsuit isn't just about money. It's a direct challenge to the narrative of Taylor Swift as an authentic, original musical genius. But while Taylor's battle is fought in the court of public opinion and intellectual property law, our final story is a much quieter, more insidious deception. It's a story of hidden billions, a divorce that is anything but amicable, and a lie buried deep within a legal document. This blind item is about Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban, and it alleges that the A-list actress put fake numbers in her recent legal filing.
He hates to see comment as 50 Cent. He took to Instagram and wrote a fake letter to the judge on why he believes that Diddy should stay locked up. Caption to this post is, "This is my letter to the judge on the Diddy case. What? I'm scared for my life." Because if you remember, during the trial, it was brought up that Diddy allegedly wanted to unalive 50 Cent. Most of us know there is another connection here between somebody and 50 Cent that testified against Diddy. 50 Cent was brought up quite a few times during Diddy's trial. 50 Cent says, "Dear Judge Sumeranian, I have had an ongoing dispute with Puffy for over 20 years. He is very dangerous. Multiple times I have feared for my life. I think you should consider the safety of the general public, Your Honor, before unleashing him upon them. There hasn't been enough time for him to reform or make any adjustments, despite him trying to teach a class in there. As you're already aware, the government has spent the maximum amount of money on deploying federal agencies, which appear to be an army, in 2 locations simultaneously. Later, his son, dealing with his own R-word allegations, claimed that the feds had hit the wrong house. Anyways, Diddy is only going to return to hiring more male workers and keeping the most baby oil away from the general public. And babies need it." My Netflix doc on this scandalous subject is...
Their actual combined income is estimated to be roughly 20 times more per month than what was declared. I've been saying for months that these two were on a collision course with divorce. And now that we're here, the true picture is uglier than anyone imagined. To understand the depth of this, you have to go back to the very beginning of their relationship, where money and control were always central themes. It's a little-known fact that early on, Nicole Kidman literally paid Keith Urban hundreds of thousands of dollars to enter rehab, essentially funding his sobriety. But the most revealing document is their infamous prenuptial agreement, which contained a clause that insiders refer to as the cocaine clause. This clause stipulated that in the instance of a divorce, Nicole would pay Keith a staggering $600,000 for every year they were married, but only on the condition that he remained sober. On the surface, it looks like a wife caring for her husband's well-being. But when it's written into a legally binding contract, it transforms into something else entirely, a financial instrument of control. It placed a direct monetary value on his sobriety and gave her a mechanism to withhold millions if he faltered. For a long time, it seemed like they had planned this separation with clinical precision. The custody agreement for their 2 daughters was settled smoothly and privately. But recently, something snapped. The veneer of a dignified mutual decision shattered, replaced by a vicious war of leaks and anonymous sources trashing each other in the press.
Was it worth it, dummy? No career? Takeoff going? Just in case y'all might not know what she's talking about, let me show y'all. Quavo and Takeoff did a music video called Messy. And in the beginning of the music video, they were waking up after having a bad dream. And the music video is their bad dream. Y'all peep the Halloween decorations. So one of the scenes in the music video is a gambling table that turns into a fight. Every music video is planned months in advance, and every prop you see is intentional. In another scene, Quavo's on the bed holding a gun and a contract. Y'all, these props have nothing to do with the lyrics or the music video. Had to get a close-up so y'all know I'm not bluffing. Then lastly, there's a scene with Takeoff standing next to a rest in peace sign with the Grim Reaper. Everything is intentional. Takeoff was murdered Halloween night, the most demonic night of the year, over a dice game that turned into a fight. And I know it says November 1st. He was killed at 2:30 a.m. Halloween night. The one thing I do find ironic is that they changed the release date. This is not the original drop date. This is the actual date that
Keith is out on tour, subtly changing the lyrics to his songs to take clear, public shots at Nicole. But Nicole's retaliation was far more sophisticated and far more dangerous. Her legal team submitted a child support worksheet to the court that claimed, absurdly, that both she and Keith have a monthly income of $100,000 each. Let's be perfectly clear, that is a blatant, audacious lie. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban are 2 of the highest-earning actors and musicians in the world. That figure is a fraction of what either of them earns in a single month. This was a deliberate attempt to lowball the court, to shield the vast majority of their combined fortune, a fortune estimated in the hundreds of millions, from being considered for things like spousal support and child support. It's financial deception on a breathtaking scale. According to sources close to E! News, Keith was the one who ultimately decided to end the relationship, and we've spoken about how Nicole was desperately trying to hold on and save them. Now, he's been spotted all over Nashville with a new woman on his arm, treating his new home like a bachelor pad. While Nicole, in a move that speaks volumes, has applied for residency in Portugal. Alone. She isn't just leaving her husband, she's potentially preparing to leave the continent. The $600,000 a year sobriety check is now a minor footnote in a brutal billion-dollar divorce war where the first casualty was the truth. So, what is the common thread that ties these three seemingly separate stories together? It's the great unraveling of the Hollywood narrative. It's the moment where the public relations machine can no longer keep the reality contained.
At one point she sat on the front row and a model tripped and she burst out laughing. And then she realised that was obviously quite a cruel thing to do, so she sort of covered it up.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively showed us the perfect Hollywood marriage. But it was ultimately a business entity that has now reached its expiration date. Taylor Swift sold us the story of an infallible musical genius. But that story is being challenged by allegations that reveal a pattern of borrowing a little too heavily from the past. And Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban presented an image of a dignified private couple. But their divorce has exposed a bitter war over money, control, and a hidden lie buried in a legal filing. The red carpets, the press junkets, the social media feeds, they are all part of the stagecraft. The real drama is happening in the legal filings, the closed-door meetings, and the desperate attempts to control a narrative that is spiraling out of control. Hollywood isn't just shaking. The very ground it was built on is giving way, and we are witnessing the collapse in real time.